from Itami Municipal Senior High School. Her title is Entering the Handicapped World. Miss Gujigen, please.
My sister was born physically handicapped when I was in the 4th grade. She had a 7-hour operation just after her birth. Fortunately, she narrowly escaped death, but she could not move her legs at all. The lower half of her body was paralyzed. At 3 years old, she could only manage to stand up with extreme difficulty by holding on to something. At that time, I often went to the hospital to watch her physical therapy. One day, it was done without the help of leg braces. When the doctor touched her tiny legs a little, she frowned in pain, barely being able to hold back her tears. I couldn't stand seeing her like that. I felt an impulse to rush over to her and hug her many times. The physical therapy was so hard and painful that I was about to shout out loud, "Doctor, stop it! Don't do that anymore!" But I said to myself, to be able to walk, it was necessary for her to bear this painful procedure. In the hospital, many patients, including my sister, were struggling in rehab. Those scenes are etched into my memory. Because of that, I began to think about social welfare. Several years ago, I had the opportunity to use a wheelchair. It was then that I realized how hard it was to go over even the smallest bumps and to pass through narrow doorways with a wheelchair. Ever since, I've tried to help people in wheelchairs. I thought it was a kind act. However, my sister's physical therapy in the hospital made me realize that I might be wrong. I began to think that it is not always good to help people who try and need to do things by themselves. I tried to think again how we should make contact with the handicapped. Do you think the best thing is to help them, just thinking that they are poor and pitiful when they don't want any help? Of course, helping them is important. However hard their handicaps might be, they all want to function without the help of others. I began to think that it is important to watch carefully to see what kind of help is necessary. I do believe, however, that social backup is important in order for the handicapped to be able to do things by themselves. For example, we should try to replace stairs with ramps for the blind and those in wheelchairs. So, I think we should make barrier-free towns where the physically handicapped persons move safely and easily without the help of others, and the handicapped and no-handicapped coexist harmoniously. Several years ago, the Paralympics were held in Sydney, Australia. Then Tensei Jingo, a column in the Asahi newspaper, said, "We should hold the Paralympics and the Olympics together, and both ordinary and the handicapped athlete should parade together under the same flag. Only the actual sporting events, should be held separately. It is important to create a place where we can play and interact together. We have a game called wheelchair basketball, where ordinary people and the handicapped can play together. I hope I can play wheelchair basketball with my sister and share this pleasure with her. I wish that day would really come soon. Thank you very much.
Okay. This is to certify that the second place is awarded to Miss 具志堅里奈. Congratulations. おめでとうございます。